My girlfriend is bi and now she doesn't want sex with me. I met her when we were both freshmen in college. It was one of those typical college meet-cutes. She was in my biology class, and I accidentally knocked over her textbook with my backpack. We laughed about it, exchanged a few words, and before I knew it, we were spending a lot of time together. She was captivating, bright, witty, and her laughter was infectious. I felt a connection with her that I hadn't felt with anyone else before. We officially started dating a few months later, and the initial months were everything you'd expect from a young love story. We were practically inseparable, from study sessions in the library to late-night conversations about our dreams and fears. Our relationship blossomed. The intimacy was there too, not just physically, but emotionally. We were each other's confidants, always eager to share our thoughts and experiences. As time passed, we settled into a comfortable routine. Our intimate moments weren't as frequent as in the beginning, but it felt natural. We were busy with school, part-time jobs, and the general chaos that comes with being a college student. Despite the decrease in physical intimacy, the emotional connection felt strong. However, things began to change about a year ago. It was subtle at first. She started to seem distant, less interested in the things we used to do together. Our once frequent moments of closeness became rare. I'd try to initiate, but she would pull away, often getting upset when I brought it up. "I'm just not in the mood," she'd say, or sometimes she wouldn't say anything at all. It felt like a wall was growing between us, and I didn't know how to tear it down. Our hangouts shifted too. We spent most of our time at her place, but instead of engaging with each other, she'd be absorbed in TikTok, scrolling endlessly. I felt like a ghost, invisible and irrelevant. I missed the days when we'd talk for hours, laugh about silly things, and share our thoughts freely. Now, silence and the glow of her phone screen filled the void. Adding to the confusion, she started making comments about other women. She'd talk about how attractive they were and how she'd like to do things with them. I knew she was bisexual and had always leaned more towards women, but hearing her express it so openly, while not showing any affection towards me, stung. When I mentioned that she never said such things about me, she simply replied, "I do in my head but not out loud." That hurt even more. It felt like I was just an afterthought, someone she kept around for convenience. I tried to share my hobbies with her, hoping we could find common ground again, but she showed no interest. She dismissed my attempts, saying, "That's not my thing," without even trying. It felt like I was the only one putting effort into maintaining our connection. The final straw was when she started with the ultimatums. "If you do this again, I'll break up with you," she'd say over minor disagreements or actions she didn't like. It was exhausting, always feeling like I was walking on eggshells, trying to avoid another breakup threat. Then there was the future to consider. I planned on going to professional school, a dream I had been working towards for years. She made it clear that she didn't want to leave our hometown and suggested we do long distance. But I couldn't see how a relationship that was already struggling would survive the strain of distance. 9 years of school and training would be challenging enough without the added pressure of a 900-mile gap between us. I couldn't imagine maintaining a relationship through facetime for nearly a decade, especially when our connection felt so fragile already. Despite all this, I found it hard to let go. I kept questioning myself, wondering if I had done something wrong, if there was something I could fix. The emotional toll was immense. I missed the closeness we once had, both physically and emotionally. I felt disconnected and confused, lost in a relationship that seemed to be slipping away. I talked to my family and friends about it, hoping for some clarity. Unanimously, they advised me to end it. "You deserve better," they said. "You can't keep holding on to something that's not there anymore." Deep down, I knew they were right. I had thought about breaking up more times than I could count, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I didn't want to be the guy who gave up on someone he cared about, even though I knew staying was hurting me more. I sat on my bed one night, staring at the ceiling, the weight of everything pressing down on me. The memories of our early days played like a movie in my mind. The laughter, the shared dreams, the moments of pure happiness. I missed those days, but I couldn't ignore the reality of our present situation. We were like two strangers living parallel lives, connected only by a shared history. The next day, I decided to talk to her one last time. I needed to know if there was any chance of salvaging what we had. As I walked to her house, my mind raced with thoughts of what to say, how to express the turmoil I felt inside. When I arrived, she was, as usual, on TikTok. I took a deep breath and sat down beside her. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady but my heart pounding. She looked at me, her expression unreadable. "About what? About us. About everything that's been happening." "Or not happening," she sighed, putting her phone down. "What do you want to know?" "I want to understand why things changed so suddenly. Why we've lost our intimacy, our connection. I feel like I'm losing you, and I don't even know why." She was silent for a moment, then spoke softly. "I don't know. I don't feel the same way anymore. I still care about you, but it's different now." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I had feared this, but hearing it out loud was devastating. "Is there someone else?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She shook her head. "No, it's not that. It's just. I don't know how to explain it. I've changed. My feelings have changed." I nodded, trying to process her words. "Do you still love me?" She hesitated, and that hesitation spoke volumes. "I do, but not in the way I used to. You're important to me, but it feels more like a close friendship now." The tears I had been holding back started to fall. I felt my heart breaking, but I also felt a strange sense of relief. Finally, I had some clarity. "I understand," I said, my voice trembling. "But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep pretending that everything is okay when it's not." She reached out to touch my hand, but I pulled away. "I think we need to end this," I continued, "for both our sakes." "We're holding on to something that's no longer there." She nodded, tears in her eyes too. "Maybe you're right. I'm sorry it had to come to this." We sat in silence for a few minutes, both of us processing the end of our relationship. It was painful, but it also felt like a weight had been lifted. We hugged one last time, a bittersweet farewell to the love we once had. Walking away from her house, I felt a mix of emotions: sadness, relief, and a glimmer of hope for the future. I knew it would take time to heal, but I also knew I had made the right decision. It was time to move on and find a new path, one that would lead to happiness and fulfillment, both for myself and for her. I walked through the streets, my mind replaying every moment we had shared. The good, the bad, and everything in between. I remembered our first date, the way she looked at me with those sparkling eyes, full of excitement and curiosity. I remembered the nights we spent talking about our future, dreaming about what we wanted to achieve. I remembered the way she used to hold my hand, the warmth and comfort it brought me. Those memories were precious, but they also reminded me of how much we had lost. As I walked, I thought about the advice my family and friends had given me. They were right. I deserved better. I deserved someone who loved me fully, who was willing to put in the effort to maintain our connection. I deserved someone who appreciated me and was excited to share their life with me. It was a hard truth to accept, but it was necessary for my growth and happiness. I spent the next few days reflecting on my decision, trying to come to terms with the end of our relationship. It wasn't easy. There were moments when I doubted myself, when I wondered if I had made the right choice. But deep down, I knew it was for the best. I had to let go of the past to make room for a better future. I started focusing on my own goals and aspirations. I threw myself into my studies, determined to excel in my chosen field. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones, surrounding myself with people who supported and uplifted me. I explored new hobbies and interests, rediscovering passions I had put on hold. Slowly but surely, I began to heal. The pain of the breakup didn't disappear overnight, but it became more manageable. I learned to embrace the uncertainty of the future, knowing that it was full of possibilities. I realized that I didn't need to rely on a relationship to define my worth or happiness. I was enough on my own. One day, as I was walking through campus, I saw her. She was laughing with a group of friends, looking happier than I had seen her in a long time. For a moment, I felt a pang of sadness, but it quickly faded. Seeing her happy made me realize that ending our relationship was the right decision for both of us. We had outgrown each other, and that was okay. It was part of growing up and finding ourselves. I smiled to myself, feeling a sense of closure. It was time to fully let go and embrace the future with open arms.